students, I hope you are doing well in these exceptional circumstances. Welcome to this TV session, which I hope will give you some answers to your questions about the English back test. This lesson is aimed at giving you a comprehensive and detailed explanation of how to deal with the English back test in order to avoid some common mistakes. This session was prepared in collaboration with Mrs. Rajeh Zeyer, Senior English Inspector. Let's then start with the English back test, which comprises three main parts. The first is the reading comprehension, the second part is the writing, and the third part is the language for all sections, whether we are talking about scientific, economics sections or arts sections. The only difference is in the marking scale is different from arts to scientific sections. We begin with the reading comprehension section. The text is an authentic article taken from international newspapers and magazines. It usually comprises about 300 words for the scientific and economics sections, and about 350 words for the arts section. The questions cover the different parts of the text and are varied. The first step when dealing with the reading comprehension is to read the text once or twice to find out the main idea. Then, we advise you to read the questions and bear them in mind while rereading the text. A good way would be to underline or highlight your answers while reading. That's very important. Do not panic if you encounter some unfamiliar words. Try to understand them through context. Please read the instructions carefully and pay attention to every detail. Finally, you have to answer according to the requirements. For example, if you are asked to tick, do put a tick, so you have the symbol. And if you are asked to circle, do circle. Now, the types of questions that you might be asked in the reading comprehension. There are two main questions. Some questions are related to the general idea of the text, and other questions are related to reading for details. So let's have a look at these types of questions. The multiple choice question. So the question is worded as follows: tick the most appropriate option. And here we draw your attention to the fact that you have to be careful because there is only one possible choice unless the question states that more than one answer is required. For the multiple choice question, we could assign it to look for the main idea of the text, to choose a title to the text, or even given further in the questions to ask about a meaning of a word by giving you, for example, three choices, and you have to, of course, choose the most appropriate one. The second type of question is a table or diagram completion. We, again, for this type of question, we target some detailed information, and therefore you have to be careful when completing a diagram or a table because your answer has to be clear and concise. Don't overload your answer. A third type of question would be the false statements. The question is worded as follows: for each of the following statements, pick out one detail showing that it is false. You can notice that the word one is underlined because only one detail is accepted. So to answer the question, please do not turn the statements to the negative or affirmative form to prove that they are false or to correct them. You simply have to find the right detail or the convenient phrase in the given paragraph. Do not write more or less than the required answer. We will see an example further. Another type of question is filling a gapped paragraph with words from the text. Each blank requires one word only. Do not change the form of the word. You have to use it as it is in the text. Again, we will see an example further in a reading comprehension. The other type of question are the WH questions, in which your answers should be short, clear, and precise, using details from the text. So be careful. All these questions, all the answers must be taken from the text. Then we move on to the reference question. The reference question, you are asked to find out what an underlined word refers to, and therefore you have to read the context before and after the underlined word in order to be sure about the answer. Finding synonyms or antonyms. The question is worded as follows. Find words or expressions in the text meaning nearly the same as or having the opposite meaning of. First, a synonym is a word which has the same meaning as another word, whereas an antonym is a word that has the opposite meaning of another word. The question says, find words or expressions. So what's the difference between a word and an expression? A word is just one word, whereas an expression could be more than two words. It could be, for example, a phrasal verb, like a verb plus preposition. For example, like break out, break up, so rain up, etc., rain in. It could also be an idiomatic expression. So you have to really be careful when reading the question and pay attention to the form of the word provided. For example, if you are provided with an adjective, it means that the word you have to look for must be an adjective. If you are provided with an adverb, the word you look for must be an adverb. If it's a noun, the same thing, so you look for a noun. If it's a verb, you look for a verb. If it's an ing form, this means that the word you look for ends with ing. So this will be helpful to find the correct word. Now, the last question, which is what we call an open answer question, you are required to give a personal and justified answer. Personal and justified answer is related to your reaction to the text. So we want you to give us your point of view on the issue raised in the text, okay? By using an expression of opinion, then by giving a justification which must be personal. Do not copy literally from the text. It will not be corrected. There are some other types of questions that might also be asked. You might be asked to match texts or paragraphs with appropriate titles or subtitles. Another type of question would be to identify the topic sentence of a text or a paragraph. What is a topic sentence? Topic sentence is the main sentence. It's the sentence that conveys the general idea of the text. Another question would be to identify the function corresponding to a given statement. By function, we mean apology, thanks, obligation, necessity. So different types of functions could be asked in this question. Finally, inferring attitudes, moods, and figures of speech. For example, you have to choose a character's, for example, personality, things like that, moods, figures of speech. So this type of question is also given in the reading comprehension. I have selected for you the reading comprehension of last year's back test, okay, scientific sections. So it was really an interesting text. We are not going to read it all, but these are the 3 paragraphs. It's taken, as you see, the source of the text has to be mentioned at the end of the page. It was taken from The Guardian and dated on January 30th, 2016. So let's have a look at the questions that were assigned last year. As you can see, the first question was to tick the most appropriate alternative. The text is mainly about a family who saved money for their children's education, sacrificed learning for traveling around the world, or opted for an adventurous learning experience. For this type of question, there are always two possible options, and you have to really think about which one is most suitable to the text. And there is usually an option that is 100% irrelevant. So for this text, the correct answer was opted for an adventurous learning experience. But here, of course, you have to tick the answer. Don't forget to tick your answer. Okay, it's the third option. The second question that was assigned, the full statements. For each of the following statements, pick out one detail from the text showing that it is false. So, the first sentence, Amy and Ella quickly embraced their parents' idea. And you have the paragraph. So you have to go to paragraph 2 and look for the answer in paragraph 2. In fact, earlier we said that you must not turn the sentence into the negative or affirmative form. This is what we meant. So it's incorrect to say Amy and Ella didn't quickly embrace their parents' idea. I have to go back to paragraph 2. So I read or I reread the paragraph, and then I have to spot the right answer. The answer is at the end of the paragraph. The suggestion shocked them initially. Initially means at the beginning, but as the idea sank in, they endorsed it. Endorsed means accepted. I go back to my sentence and I just rewrite it as it is in the text. I do not make any modifications. Okay, I just rewrite it. We can say copy paste for this answer. You copy the answer as it is in the text and you paste it in the space provided. The second statement says Finn and his wife taught their daughters the same school program as other students in the UK. Paragraph 3. As we earlier said, it's incorrect to say Finn and his wife did not teach their daughters the same school program as other students in the UK. I go back to paragraph 3 and I have to look for the answer. So I read my text, I read the paragraph. Where is the answer? The answer is they decoupled from the national curriculum, developing a more flexible student-led model. They decoupled means they disconnected from the national curriculum. So what I do, I just copy the sentence and write it in the space provided without making any modifications. The third question now, complete the following paragraph with 3 words from paragraph 3. 1 word per blank. So the most important words, the key words have been underlined. 3 words and 1 word per blank. So each blank requires just 1 word. If you write more than 1 word, you will be penalized for it. Be careful. So I read my sentence. The Meeks could blank their new lifestyle by blank selling their house. Now they were ready to face all the and persevere. I stop at the first blank. The Meeks could, and then I have a blank after could. So what do I need for this blank? I need a verb in the base form. I go back to paragraph 3 and I start rereading the paragraph. The family started their journey. Can we use started? The meaning is correct, but grammatically speaking, it's incorrect because we have started the simple past and we need a base form. So started is not the word needed. The family started their journey, road schooling in a caravan. Driven by educational aims, they visited various areas in the UK and ventured into unknown corners. Can I choose ventured? The same thing. It's a past tense. Therefore, it's not the correct word. They decoupled from the national curriculum, developing a more flexible student-led model. We've often been asked how we can afford to live like this. I stop at the sentence. There is a word that might fit in the blank. It's the word afford. We've often been asked how we can afford to live like this. I underline it. It might be the right word. I go on reading. Our answer is we can't. We simply sold our house and invested money in our most precious assets, our children. They now see challenges as an important part of life and value their ability to persevere when the going gets tough. I have maybe the word value. Could we say could value their new way of life? No. Then I have the verb persevere. They could persevere their new way of life. What does persevere mean first? Persevere means to keep on trying without abandoning. So does it convey the meaning? Definitely not. So the only possible answer is the verb afford. The Meeks could afford their new lifestyle by selling their house. By blank selling their house. Is my sentence grammatically correct? Yes. Therefore, the word I have to look for must just add information. It's not going to change the structure of the sentence. And the word needed is therefore an adverb. Their new lifestyle by simply selling their house. You can see that even if we deleted simply, the sentence would still be meaningful. Now, they were ready to face all the and persevere. Where is the key word here? Is the word all. All the blank. So the word I have to look for is a plural noun. And by going back to paragraph 3, I see that at the end of the paragraph, they now see what? They see challenges as an important part of life. And therefore, the word I look for is challenges. Now, they were ready to face all the challenges and persevere. We move now to question 4. Question 4 asks you to find words or expressions in the text meaning nearly the same as. So we are looking for synonyms. We begin with the first word, the first definition, starting a journey. What is the key issue here is the ing form in starting. So I have to look for a word that ends in ing. And I must look for the word in paragraph 1. I go back to paragraph 1. So I read the paragraph, and at the end of the paragraph, I read the last sentence. The idea led to them making a radical decision. Is it making a radical decision? I don't think so. Quitting jobs, removing their daughters, Amy and Ella, from school, and hitting the road. So in this sentence, we have plenty of words that end in ing. So making a radical decision is not the right expression. Quitting jobs means leaving the job. It's not the right option. Removing their daughters from school, no. So hitting the road, just remember, okay, the song Hit the Road Jack, okay, the title of the song Hit the Road Jack means start a new journey. Starting a journey, hitting the road. The second definition, monotonous routine. Be careful. Here we have adjective plus noun, monotonous routine. So routine is itself monotonous, but here we even emphasized it, monotonous routine. So what type of word I have to look for in paragraph 2? It must be a noun. I go back to paragraph 2, and by reading the first sentence of the paragraph, at the time, we felt trapped in a rut, working too hard and not spending enough time together as a family, Tim revealed. I was actually struggling with mild depression, and Carrie felt she was constantly drowning in a sea of pupil performance spreadsheets. Amy and Ella were relatively happy at school, but the increasing test-focused system was dampening their spirits. We were all ready for a change. Carrie and I were excited about the adventure, but nervous about how the girls might react. The suggestion shocked them initially, but as the idea sank in, they endorsed it, Tim added. So, there are two possible words that could fit for the second definition. The first is depression. But does depression mean routine? So depression is a health condition, it's a medical condition that has nothing to do with monotonous routine. If I go back to the beginning of the paragraph, the first sentence we have, we felt trapped in a rut. And the word I have to look for is rut. Rut means monotonous, humdrum routine. So I go back to my question and write it in the space provided. Here, be careful. You mustn't write more than the word needed. If you write, for example, trapped in a rut, this will not be considered as a correct answer. So you have to write just the word rut, or at least a rut. Okay? For the third now word is the word weakening, again from paragraph 2, and the hint is the ing form, of course. So here, after reading paragraph 2, weaken, to make something weaker, it's dampening. So you see that ing for weakening, dampening, weakening. Now the fifth question asks the student to circle the two adjectives that best describe the family's new way of life. How should I proceed? First, I should read the 4 options: enriching, stressful, instructive, depressive. What do I notice? I notice that 2 adjectives convey a positive meaning. These 2 adjectives are enriching and instructive, and 2 other adjectives convey a negative meaning. These are stressful and depressive. Of course, after carefully reading the text, and that's why it's at the end of the this is among the last but one question, okay? After reading the text carefully, I understand that this experience, okay, is enriching and instructive. Of course, I have to comply to the instructions. They ask me to circle the 2 adjectives, so I have to circle them. Don't rewrite them, don't tick, don't cross. You have to circle the 2 adjectives. The last question now, as we said, it asks you to give your personal reaction, okay, personal and justified answer to the question. If you were the meek's daughter or son, would you accept to go through such an experience? Why? Why not? So you see that in the question there are 2 parts. First, you have to imagine yourselves in the same situation as the meek's children. So if I were the meek's daughter or son, you have to answer this way. Why if I were? Because this is an unreal situation. In case I experienced it, I would or I wouldn't accept. You are free to say I would or I wouldn't. You are free to agree or disagree, but you have to give a convincing argument. So I would or I wouldn't accept to go through such an experience because. And remember what we earlier said for this question, you have to provide a personal answer. You must not take your answer from the text. This is all then for the comprehension questions that were assigned last year with this text. I hope it is clear for you. Okay. Of course, there are other types of questions as we earlier mentioned them, but they were not tested last year. The language section. As you can see, for the language section, you usually have 2 exercises for the scientific sections and 3 exercises for the arts section. Among these exercises, you might be asked to fill in the blanks with words provided in a list, or to choose the right option, to put the words in the right form or tense, and finally, to match sentence parts. We start with general guidelines. As we earlier advised you to read the whole text, the reading comprehension text, to get the general idea, it's the same for the language part. Read the whole paragraph to understand what it is about, to get the main idea of the paragraph. Another good step would be to underline the key words to be sure about your answers, especially for the type of exercise in which you are asked to put in the right tense or form. Always read after the blank, because there might be a hint, there might be a key that guides you to the right answer. Because most students just stop at the blank, and in many cases, the hint is after the blank and not before the blank. Finally, and this is very important, mind your handwriting. Pay attention to spelling mistakes, because spelling mistakes are penalized, so you will not get your mark if you make any spelling mistakes. And you have to use capital letters where needed. So we will see an example how the use of capital letters is required. We start with the first type of exercise. Fill in the blanks with 6 words from the list below. So the first thing, as we said, we have to read the paragraph. Often, the use of the internet in classrooms allows children to cooperate among each other to promote the sharing of ideas. Students who find methods of learning difficult, so blank, will enjoy learning through this new medium. From this positive experience, these children will definitely improve their attitudes about learning and gain blank. Many parents, blank, children use the internet in school, think that the internet has improved their children's attitude towards school. This is because the internet has made it possible for most children to participate in an independent learning environment. The internet is not only a medium of education, but it's also a means of relaxation and fun. So sorry, the last sentence is not visible. After reading then the paragraph, I focus on the list of words provided. When I read the question, they say, fill in the blanks with 6 words from the list. I count them. There are 8 words. This means that there are 2 extra words. So I start reading. Besides, actively, conventional, at, however, whose, on, and knowledge. What catches my attention is the capital letter used in the words besides and however. Be careful, this is not a typing mistake. This is done on purpose to help you find the right space for this word. Then, besides and however, both are linkers, but they are not used in the same way. Besides is a linker of addition, and however is a linker of contrast. This is for these two words. Then actively. Actively is an adverb. Active, actively. Conventional is an adjective. Convention, the adjective is conventional. At and on, these are prepositions. This means, in most cases, if we have two words of the same form, it means that maybe one of them is an extra word. Whose is a relative pronoun we use in case of to express the possessive. And finally, the word knowledge. Knowledge is noun. So after reading the paragraph, after understanding the words I have to place in the paragraph, I reread it. Often, the use of the internet in classrooms allows children to cooperate among each other to promote the sharing of ideas. Students who find methods of learning difficult. Who finds what? Who finds methods of learning difficult. So what about methods of learning? It's a noun. And I have a blank before a noun. What do I need for this blank? I need an adjective. So which word is an adjective in the list? Conventional. Students who find conventional methods of learning difficult will enjoy learning through this new medium. From this positive experience, these children will definitely improve their attitudes about learning and gain what? I need a noun. Where is the noun in the list? Gain knowledge. So I go to my list and write it in the appropriate space. Please mind the spelling. Don't make any spelling mistakes. Many parents, children use the internet in school, think that the internet has improved their children's attitude towards school. In fact, the sentence is, many parents think that the internet has improved their children's attitude towards school. What about these parents? The parents whose children use the internet in school think that. This is because the internet has made it possible for most children to participate in an independent learning environment. To participate in. Is my sentence correct? Yes. So what do I need? I just need to emphasize on the verb participate. How do they participate? They actively participate. I need an adverb. Then, in an independent learning environment, look at the punctuation. After environment, we have a full stop. And then we have a blank. So, what do I need? I need a word that begins with a capital letter. What about these words? We have besides. We said that besides is a linker of addition. It means in addition to, moreover. And we have however. However is a linker of contrast. It means but. So what's the link between the previous sentence and the following one? This is because the internet has made it possible for most children to participate actively in an independent learning environment. Then, the internet is not only a medium of education, but it is also a means of relaxation and fun. So what am I doing? Am I expressing a contrast, or am I adding information? Here, I'm adding information, and therefore, the correct word is besides. Sorry for the last word, it's on, so we cannot see it on the screen now. We move now to the second type of exercise in which you are required to circle the correct alternative. As usual, I read the paragraph to understand what it is about. Then I read it sentence by sentence and try to find out the answers. I have underlined some keywords just to show you how you should proceed. Eating a diet high in fats and sugars will not only have an effect on your waistline, but also your health, says dietitian Melanie McGrath. You will experience, you will experiment, or you will expose heart issues, raised cholesterol, bad skin, and the risk of diabetes and cancers. So, I go back, I have the words experience, experiment, and expose. Can we use expose in that particular case? Maybe you will expose your health to some heart issues, or you will be exposed to some health issues, but we cannot use it. We cannot use the active form in this sentence. Then, this is the wrong word. Now I have to choose between experience and experiment. When do we use experiment? Experiment is usually a scientific trial. We make some scientific experiments. We experiment something to reach a conclusion. And to experience is to go through a situation, okay, and which might have some effects on us. And therefore, the correct word is experience. We are not dealing with the scientific here, the scientific field. That's why we cannot use the word experiment. I go on reading. The risks of ill health increase with every extra kilo you gain, and the lack from fresh fruit and vegetables in your diet, she says. Lack, do we say lack for, lack of, or lack from? Of course, these are prepositions. You have to know when to use and which preposition to use with the word lack. We say lack of. Lack of means shortage of. Lack of or shortage of means when we don't have enough of something. So lack of fresh fruit and vegetable. A study at Bristol University, UK would have found that children who eat more chips, crisps, biscuits, and pizza before the age of 3 have a lower intelligence quotient 5 years earlier. A study at Bristol University, UK found. So we can say has found, we can say will have found, and we can say would have found. But what about will have found? This is the future perfect. Future perfect, and we refer to a future event, that will take place or that will have taken place at a given time in the future. And here we are already speaking about a study which has been carried out. So we are not speaking about the future. Therefore, this is the 100% wrong answer. Would have found. What about would? Okay, is it the conditional form? Of course not. So the answer is has found is the present perfect. A study at Bristol University, UK has found, we understand that it has recently found, the study has been carried out and the results have been already revealed. So we are talking about the results of a study. It has found that children who eat more chips, crisps, biscuits, and pizza before the age of 3 have a lower intelligence quotient 5 years after eating these. So do we say 5 years later, 5 years ago, or 5 years earlier? Of course, later and earlier are opposites. And here we cannot speak about something after eating. So earlier is the 100% wrong answer. Ago, when do we use ago? Ago is used with the simple past to refer to an action that took place and finished at a given time in the past. So we say, for example, 5 years ago, we met 5 years ago. So the only answer here is 5 years later, means after eating the chips, the crisps, biscuits, and pizza, okay? The children this has an effect on their intelligence quotient. Even if the child's diet improved or will improve, it could be too late. It could be too late. We have two keywords, in fact. The first is even if, it means in the case that, and the second is it could be. It could be. So here we are in an unreal situation in the present. Unreal situation in the present, which tends to use improves is the simple present, improved is the unreal past, and will improve is the future. Do we use the future in the if clause? Of course not. We cannot say even if it will improve. Therefore, will improve is the 100% wrong answer. Even if the child's diet improves is used in a situation, what we call a possible future event. If you do something, you will, for example, if you work hard, you will get better marks. Here we are in an unreal situation. In case the child's diet improved, even if the child's diet improved, it could be too late. And therefore nothing, because the ill effects might remain throughout their lives. Changing your diet doesn't mean you needn't, you have to, or you can eat like a rabbit. Changing your diet doesn't mean you needn't eat like a rabbit. Okay, means selective, being selective in what you eat. Can eat means you can eat like a rabbit, exactly the same. Of course, this is wrong. You have to, this is obligation, okay? You have to eat. This does not mean that you have to eat like a rabbit. Ensure that the majority of your diet is made up of lean protein, fresh fruit, vegetables, low-fat dairy, and whole grains. I hope it was clear. We move on now to the third type of questions, and this is one of the exercises that many students find hard to deal with. The same thing. I read the paragraph to get the general idea. I have underlined the keywords for you. So we start reading. Cars of the future could bring significant cuts in fuel consumption and emissions. Eco-driving systems offer visual blank to drivers. What about the underlined word, visual? Visual is an adjective. It can offer visual what? Visual guidance. I need a noun. Visual guidance to drivers. Usually built into satellite navigation systems or via smartphone applications. The systems are not yet widely available. However, nearly every, the word manufacturer, blank, is now looking at installing them in his or her next generation of cars. So the word every requires a singular noun. And then we have in his or her next generation of cars, his or her refer to the word we look for, and consequently we need the doer. We are speaking about every manufacturer, and be careful to the spelling. It requires ER and not OR. Conducted in 2014-2015 in Leeds, UK, the EcoDriver project had promise results, had blank results. What about the word results? It's the noun, and we have a blank before a noun. So, what is the adjective from promise? It's a promising results. Means results that provide us with good information about the future, okay? It could be really good for the future, promising results. It showed that drivers who had such systems, the verb install in their cars, saved an average of 4.20 in fuel consumption. So it showed that drivers who had such systems, these systems have already been installed. And therefore we need the past participle of the verb install. Such substantial fuel and energy savings were gained when the Institute for Transport Studies, the verb give, accurate advice on the best speed for cutting fuel costs and emissions. When the Institute for Transport Studies, verb give, accurate advice on the best speed. So, what about the other keyword? Such substantial fuel and energy savings were gained. So it's already in the past. And when the Institute of Transport Studies had given, because it gave, the act of giving was prior to gaining, and therefore we need to use the past perfect, had given accurate advice on the best speed for cutting fuel costs and emissions. If the EcoDriver project were adopted by more drivers, it deliver important safety benefits within a few years' time. If, this is a conditional sentence, if the EcoDriver project were adopted, again, this means that we are in an unreal situation. This is not true, but in case the EcoDriver project were adopted, why do we use were and not was adopted? Because here we are in an unreal situation. This is the unreal past, and therefore with he, she, it, and I, we use were instead of was. If I were you means if I were in the same situation, yes, if I were you, I would work harder. So if the EcoDriver project were adopted by more drivers, it would deliver important safety benefits within a few years' time. So once I finished with my paragraph, I reread it, paying attention to, of course, the words I have used and the spelling, the correct spelling of each word. The last exercise then, match sentence parts in column A with their completions from column B. There is always an extra item in B. So you can see that there are 8 sentence parts in column A and 9 parts in B. So we start. Thomas Edison started work on the railway when something happened, or when he was 12. So at the age of 12. We match it with D. He spent most of his time doing something. So I have to look for the ing form. Where is it? It's in A, selling newspapers and snacks. There were long periods with nothing for him to do. So he built himself a laboratory in could be a date. In could be followed by a place. So do I have a date? No. However, I have the luggage van. So he built himself a lab in the luggage van. There means, or there refers to the luggage van where he built his lab. There he could carry what? Either we need a preposition or we need a noun. He could carry out experiments, means he could really make his experiments. He could carry out experiments. One day, he noticed a small, what do I need? I have a small, a plus adjective, so I need a singular noun. A small boy playing by the track. One day, he noticed a small boy playing by the track. A train was approaching, and young Edison, what do I need for this? I need a verb. And young Edison ran and grabbed the child just in time. It means that he saved the child. The child's father was so grateful. What about this structure? So plus adjective. What do I need? It's so easy that. The child's father was so grateful that he taught him telegraph operating. So grateful that he taught him telegraph operating. All right? So here we have 8 sentences, 8 sentence parts, and of course we have an extra sentence or an extra sentence part. It's sentence C, to achieve a breakthrough. What's a breakthrough? A breakthrough is a very important discovery, okay, a milestone from which we can build on, okay, in our, for example, scientific research or any other field. I think so. We have reached the end of this first session. Hopefully, in the second session, we will focus on the writing part. Thank you. Okay, see you next time.